once again, I am Dr. Eric Tucker, and we're talking about Thomas Aquinas and natural law. Thomas Aquinas was born into a time of dynamic change. It was a period of globalization and increased awareness of other cultures. Under the Islamic Golden Age in Spain, scholars from Islam, Judaism, and Christianity came together to discuss and rediscover philosophy and culture and science from all over the world. It was a time when the Western world began to rediscover Aristotle. Universities had started across Europe and were teaching not only religious but cultural and scientific ideas. It was also a time when Christianity had grown in political and economic power. The father of Aquinas wanted him to become a priest for the possible economic advantages, to become an influential abbot. Instead, Aquinas became a Dominican, who with the Franciscans were attempting to reform and revitalize the faith. The story is that his family kidnapped him for 2 years to try to get him out of the Dominican order. Today, we may see Aquinas as establishment, but in his time, he was somewhat of an innovative rebel. He came under the influence of a teacher by the name of Albertus. Oddly, Aquinas, a big silent type, soon received the nickname of Dumb Ox. But Albertus saw in him tremendous potential. Albertus had not only studied theology, was also very interested in science and technology, and particularly in Aristotle. Turns out, Albertus was right. Aquinas has become one of the most influential thinkers in human history. He became very dedicated to reason and rationality. In Aristotle, he found a way to integrate faith, reason, and other fields of learning. His method was to take opposing viewpoints, represent them as fairly as possible with the strongest possible arguments, and then present his own argumentation. The ideas of natural law and of virtue ethics are intertwined. Thomas Aquinas applied reason to virtues and deals more with virtues than with human nature, though here we want to look at his ideas of reason and human nature. In his attempt to bring together diverse thoughts into a single system, it may be worthwhile to digress a moment. As we mentioned in the previous video, natural law combines the concepts of scientific laws, laws of logic and reason, and the laws of human nature. For Thomas Aquinas, all of these came from God. If God is the source of natural laws and therefore science and the source of reason and logic and the source of faith, then these cannot contradict. Science and reason must be compatible with faith. If they appear not to be, then somewhere there is a mistake of reason and a missing piece. Any contradiction can only be apparent. Science, reason, and faith cannot come from different sources. They come from the same source and cannot contradict. Now, if human nature is universal, he would argue, then universal ethics is possible based on the rational study of human nature. But if this is the case, why is there not more unanimity and why so much evil in the world? Aquinas would respond that the problem is flawed human moral reasoning. Reason and human nature can still provide, he insists, common ground for ethics across culture if proper reason is applied. Aquinas' moral theory is far more complex and comprehensive than we can adequately cover here. He gives us an extensive treatment of virtues and virtue ethics. Aquinas also talks about primary precepts such as human life and education, and then secondary precepts that are derived from the primary precepts, such as not murdering, see there the primary precept of human life, or not lying, see there the primary precept of education. He has extensive discussions about purpose, the meaning of life, the pursuit of happiness, ultimate happiness in God, all of these things related to his faith. Thomas Aquinas does not give us a complete list of the universal goods, but he would include life, health, procreation, welfare of children, knowledge, and relationships. This last one, human relationships, has less to do with avoiding offending one another and more to do with living in community. Aquinas stressed the importance of living in and supporting an ordered society. This need not be a comprehensive or complete list. Another author, Finis, adds marital good, aesthetic appreciation, and play. Chappelle mentions fairness. Grisez writes about self-integration and authenticity. It's acceptable that many of these human values or goods overlap. The point is not so much to have a complete list. Human nature is complex and nuanced. Rather, the point is to look for certain fundamental values that are a part of our humanness. We should avoid that which degrades our humanness and should encourage that which develops our humanity. What culture or society does not value the preservation of human life, having and caring for children, learning, or human relationships? Yet, while these may be widespread, we find vast disagreements between societies and cultures on how these are defined and how they are applied in specific situations. But they still remain. But we will deal with the objections to natural law in a future video. Next, though, we need to look at how to apply natural law. Thank you so much.